shattered, and there's no way to be fixed again. Love heals your heart.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the last few days of our Love Revolution Challenge. And I want to thank you first of all for kind of sticking it out. If you're here on today, then you've either come into the game late or just starting today, or more than likely have kind of funneled back through the different challenges every day of how we're looking at thinking about life and love differently. And really the whole purpose of this was to start changing some of our daily habits, to think about how we engage more in our moments, how we reach out and touch other people and make their day. We smile, we open a door, we do a random act of kindness, something that perpetuates that cycle of love, of light, of giving. We've talked about how powerful our words are, that every moment of the day we have a stage and a microphone through our actions, and the words that we choose to use, and how they can impact not just the people around us or the individuals we're speaking to, but how that ultimately plays a bigger part in changing the entire world. A lot of people love to complain. They love to complain that, hey, you know, there's no hope. There's no way to change the world. There's no way to change our culture, our society, everything from politics to religion. We just can't do it. Unfortunately, that mindset will keep that individual there, and it doesn't create change for them. But if you get to the place to realize that you are that proponent for change, each individual is a catalyst for that greater change by being light and love in our communities, in our families, and ultimately how that ripple effects out to the entire world. So very, very important stuff we've been talking about. Probably the most important thing that I want to share over the next few days is probably make people a little itchy and uncomfortable. Because it's something that made me itchy and uncomfortable. But really, if you're going to talk about creating greater change and about a love revolution, we've got to look at the core of everything of where that comes from. And so I want to break down a few things over the next few days, just make it real simple today. I'm going to ask that you stick with me. I do want to talk about this divine source that we tap into, that we belong to, that really creates the ultimate change in everyone's life. I promise I'm not coming at it from a religious standpoint. The last thing you will ever hear me say is that I agree with religion. I agree with faith, and I agree with finding the truth and the divine source of love and light and grace and forgiveness. So stick with me on it. I don't think that if anything else, you'll have a negative comment to say. So you might as well just listen. Let me plant the seed and you can decide what you want to do with it, right? So kind of in setting the stage for that, I just want to say, to round out today, all of us were created to love. We were all created to belong, and we have this deep-seated desire to belong. For me, for the longest time, and essentially until about almost 2 years ago, not even quite 2 years ago, I didn't understand that. I grew up in a great family, a very loving family who supported me, who told me how much they loved me. They showed me how much they loved me. And yet there was still this piece of me that was seeking acceptance, a place to belong to, that I needed everyone's approval around me in order to feel okay about myself. And because other humans cannot give that to me in the way that I so deeply needed it, I was off the rails, and I was off the rails for a very, very, very long time, looking for it in any avenue I could find it. Much like yourself, maybe. Maybe you may say, well, I don't need somebody else's approval and acceptance. Well, neither did I, but that was the rebellious part of me. That was the part of me that was the tough exterior. So I cried at night wondering why I was picked on at school, wondering why I was picked on at church, because I was the preacher's kid, because I was the new kid in town, because I couldn't be cool, couldn't be accepted for any reason. So I cried at night. The tough exterior would say during the day that, hey, I don't need any of you. Watch me, see the attitude come out, and I'll tell you how tough I am. And you know what? That continued straight on through making bad decisions through my 20s and 30s. What I realized, though, a couple of years ago was going back to something I'd been taught as a child, but I refused to believe it because what I was seeing was this faith thing, this belief in something higher, this belief in something so true and so pure came with a bunch of rules and regulations, and I'm not a rules person. I think I said that the other day. I don't like being confined in a box. I like guidelines because I think you have to have them to live a life with integrity and character. But the whole rules thing, meaning I had to do this in order to get this, and there was no two ways about it, and I'd be judged based on my performance through that. But what I discovered is that's all somebody else's idea. It's man's idea of what you have to do to be accepted. So what I want to leave you with today before I set up the next couple of days is you are accepted exactly 100% the way you are. You belong. You are loved. You matter. I don't care what you've done. I don't care how crazy your past is. I don't care if you have hurt someone. I don't care if you've murdered somebody, which I hope is not the case if you're watching this, but I'm trying to say I don't care how extreme it is, how extremely dark and painful and volatile it was, and whether it was something that happened to you that was in that dark place that caused you to do something else as a reaction, or it's something that you did to somebody else. Doesn't matter. You're completely 100% forgiven. You're completely 100% okay just the way you are. You just have to come to a place that you accept that and that you believe that you belong to something greater. Next couple days I'm going to talk about that. What's the greater that you belong to? How accepted am I? How much of a clean slate do I really have? And just I want to explain the love that you have. So no matter where you are today, no matter how, if you feel like you're on a mountaintop, great. Pull somebody up with you and get them there to understand why you are so full of joy and freedom and happiness. If you're the guy at the bottom of the pit, as I like to call it, I've lived in that pit for a really long time. I also called it my hidey hole, but really it's deeper than that. And literally and figuratively, it was just this deep, deep, deep well of darkness with not even a little pinprickle of light that I could see at the top. I've been there, so I know what I'm telling you is true. So stick with me. Come back and join me the next 2 days. I'm going to unpack it for you a little bit more. And I promise you that you don't have to agree with me. I just want you to listen. See how it resonates within and see how you feel. So go out and have a great day. Remember to keep pushing through by doing things for other people, by doing things for yourself, by making healthier decisions and choices that lead to change in your life, your community, and ultimately in the world. Thanks.
When you think your life is shattered and there's no way to be fixed again, love heals your